Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is a conversation in jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. Today, we are presenting part 2 of our interview with the master jazz vocalese artist, Your Majesty, Mr. George V. Johnson. We ask you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. Okay, we're back. This is a conversation in jazz, and we're talking to George V. Johnson, my brother.
We're back again.
Yes, sir, man. Good stuff on that first half, man. I learned a lot. I think we learned a lot. The community learned a lot. So thank you.
Let's roll.
Before we get deeper into your experiences in New York, I want to go a little deeper into this vocalese.
Okay.
How did you develop the ability to pen original lyrics? I mean, was it a gift, or did you learn it by doing it?
Well, we were, put it this way, we were rapping before we called it rap.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I was always into I was into the last poets.
Yeah.
I could have been a poet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew a lot of the material. As a matter of fact, when I was at Howard,
Train blew away all the pain.
when I was at Howard, we used to have monologue parties.
Monologue parties?
Monologue parties, where everybody come in with a monologue. So one day I came in with a monologue I did the prison skit.
Okay.
With the Last Poets.
Wow.
But little did I know, guess who was at the party?
Who?
The Last Poets.
Wow.
Abby O'Doon
and
a couple other guys were there, and we became friends. They said, wow, they couldn't believe it. I knew that stuff just as well as they knew it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just started, so I was always in the lyrics.
Okay.
I was always in the lyrics. And then when Eddie Jefferson said, write your own shit, that's when I started writing lyrics.
Okay. Because there's a, I call believe it or not, but I went through a period where I thought I was going to become a rapper.
Well, I guess so. You're that age. That's when that's the 80s, the 70s, the 80s.
No, but this was in the 90s. This was in the 2000s. In the 2000s,
You got some slick stuff, man.
Yeah, man. But I started getting into producing, and then, I like the way the rappers. I'm the kind of cat that followed all the rules.
Yeah.
But the cats that didn't follow the rules get all the goodies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, my household, you couldn't curse.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And I never write or do anything that I couldn't say in front of my mother or my grandmother.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, all my lyrics.
So I went through a period where I just kind of wanted to be, I wanted to just kind of, but I found myself, I couldn't say certain things because it was for the same reason. But I did try to, I thought I was going to be a rapper, man. And this is after playing
Man,
jazz.
I couldn't even see you saying the N-word. I couldn't even hear you saying that. We don't care for that.
Yeah, so, man. But the reason why I brought that up is because what I learned from that experience is the art of crafting, using language to create pictures. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. I can deal with
And so
that.
when somebody writes a lyric, that ain't just no, what goes in your mind? Like when you're penning, when you're writing penning a lyric to a song composition, what's your process? What are you thinking about?
Okay, say for instance, like Moment's Notice, John Coltrane. You know, he went dee da 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 little da 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 la la dee dee da. So I went. His sounds were mellow, soft, and warm. You'll feel his spirit hum along. John Coltrane played love and magic. Listen to the message of his song. John Coltrane, glad you came along. Now, the second song I started writing lyrics was My Little Suede Shoes. I was a Metro bus driver, and I was running the Mass Avenue. What's that? The N4.
I don't know.
The Mass Avenue line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was coming past the embassy. So every day it was this young lady that came out of the Japanese embassy that sat behind me, beautiful woman. And I was listening to, I would always have Bird in my ear.
Wow.
Because, you know, they had the little portable cassettes, and I'd have one in my ear. And
so while you're driving, you're listening to jazz?
I'm listening to Charlie Parker.
Wow.
John Coltrane. So I started writing the lyrics to My Little Suede Shoes. So Bird went do dee doo da do dee doo doo da do doo dee doo do dee doo doo doo, and I said, I saw a pretty little girl today. She only lived half a block away. Although we didn't get the chance to speak, I knew one day that we would finally meet.
Wow.
So the whole story is, I used to see her on the busy streets while walking smoothly with a steady beat. All the fellas that she passed would speak, 'cause she looked good to everyone she meet. I tried to tell her that I loved the way she looked, but I could never get the chance. I only wish that we could someday be together and maybe start a sweet romance. I saw that pretty little girl today.
Yeah.
She only lived a half a block away.
Come
now,
on.
if we only get the chance to speak, I'd wipe that girl right from off her feet. Then I went, it was a beautiful day in September.
Yeah.
I was busy gazing out
Charlie
the window.
Parker. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, as I looked up to the corner, I could see her walking down the street.
Yeah.
My, she was pretty. Then I ran to the corner to see if I could find her name. I'm school. Wow. She looked sweet. I approached the intersection, was getting the bus. Then my heart started pounding, the bus started moving. The minute she would be gone. And they got themselves together and tried to get the cab.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the cabbie caught red light. Oh, yes, he let her get away. What am I going to do? I just want to see him one more time. Love to get closer so that I can tell her the way I feel.
Yes, sir.
I'm so excited. Yes, that girl is really driving me crazy. What am I going to do? So the whole story is, you know how you see somebody and you really dig them?
Yeah.
And you never meet them. They always get away.
Wow.
That girl that got away.
Wow.
So that was that girl that
Beautiful,
got away.
man.
So what I did, when I started learning solo, I would play Bird. I would have my teak sound reel to reel, and I have sound to sound. I would record myself. I would break down the phrases note for note. Ba-doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-da. I saw a pretty little girl today. And I would sing those over and over and over. I would study Charlie Parker's every inflection, every bend, everything.
Yeah.
Because John told me, and James Moody said the same thing. James Moody would correct me on stage. He'd call me in the back. He said, it goes like this. It's not like that. He'd say, "Can reminisce me and think." It says it's not like that. Can reminisce me and think about Bird. You know, Bird didn't have all that bravado. It's none of that pretty shit that you're singing like you're singing rock and roll.
Yeah.
You got to sing the lyrics just like the solos. Once you learn the solos, then when you start improvising, then you scat and do your thing.
Yeah.
So the whole process of singing those things over is repetition, over and over and over, and that's the way I do it when I'm teaching kids.
Wow.
And those lyrics, if you recite them, they're just like rap.
Man.
They're poetry.
Yeah. Poetry in motion.
So that's how I started teaching the kids rap when I was teaching in the schools in the 80s.
Yeah. Wow.
I would take songs like St. Thomas. We love making happy music 'cause it's our thing. Our rhythms make you move, so stand up and sing loud and clear. Jazz is here. Modern music rings in my ear. So I was teaching kids, I would teach them words. They would recite them. Or the gingerbread boy. There's danger everywhere around the streets. Don't be surprised to get strung up on your feet. We got crime everywhere, both day and night. The world's in the shock and oh, what a fright. It's time to make a change, stop this mess. You people really got a lot on your chest. We got dope, birth control, white collar crime. The kids on the street just passing time. So in them days, I didn't know about copywriting and getting permission. And Jimmy, he heard those lyrics, said, I don't sing those lyrics. I don't like those. I didn't write those songs. I didn't write those lyrics about that. I wrote the lyrics about my son because he used to bounce around the floor like a gingerbread boy. So me and Jimmy got real close because we did a couple of shows with Moody together. Wow. So he loved me, so I just did.
Jimmy Heath.
Yeah, I never sung it again. This is the first time I sung those lyrics in 30 years.
Wow.
And, but Jimmy was my best friend. He was my biggest supporter at the Washington, D.C. Jazz Network. It's two or three of these people. I can't mention other people's names. Yeah. But he would call me up and say, George, you still got the same address? He'd send me $100, $200, 2 or 3 times a month.
Really?
He even did that before he died. Jimmy Heath, because see, when I met Jimmy, they had just started the Jazz Mobile.
Yeah.
So he was teaching up there, and I was singing with James Moody. I was going to Barry Harris's workshops. So we became good friends. And then we would do the New Year's celebration at Sweet Basil's every year, and that would be the group to open up with us. Wow. So Jimmy, the Heath brothers, he always dug me, so we became good friends. So that's when I learned the importance of getting permission to write lyrics before you write them and sing them in public. Yeah. Because some people don't want lyrics to their music.
And we're going to talk about, because you wrote lyrics to over 40 of Hank Mobley's composition. Yes. And you got Sickler. You had to get did you? Yeah. Did he commission you to do this?
Yeah, actually what happened was I went to visit New Mexico. I met some people from Albuquerque. My friend Sophie. Uh-huh. I met her at the Jazz Educators Convention in 2000 in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And she said, come to New Mexico. So she flew me out to New Mexico, and they was having a jam session. Mm-hmm. I needed some lyrics, and her husband has about 10,000 records. I said, I need some songs. So next thing you know, he started playing songs. He put on This I Dig of You. So I wrote the lyrics to that in about 30 minutes. I was in the backyard. I did about 6 songs that day. Wow. I went jazzing in and jazzing around, speaking jazz, swinging jazz is a word in town. We're glad you came by to join us today. The music is real, the swinging, the cats love to play. So gather around and jazz around, dig the move, dig the groove, it's the best in town. The music is really jamming away. Dig on the groove, because Antonio's starting to play. Bam. So I wrote the lyrics of that. Then he played Hard Times. I wrote the lyrics of Hard Times, David Fathead Newman, and a couple other things. Wow. And next thing you know, I had enough. So what happened was they did a live jam session. I had no idea, and we did it. So I started calling the different people to get permission. Mm-hmm. And they knew Don Sickler. Mm-hmm. They said, Don, this cat, George, wrote some lyrics to Hank Mobley, because they had put somebody else in touch with him. So Don said, meet me at the Monk competition in D.C. It was at the hotel. Mm-hmm. It was about 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I went there and met Don, and I went up to his room.
Don Sickler?
Don Sickler. Went to his room, and we talked for about an hour. He loved me. And then next thing you know, he gave me full permission to write lyrics of all of Hank Mobley's material.
Was that second floor music?
Yeah, he handles the estate.
Okay.
And next thing you know, he gave me, I went to visit him, he gave me about 10 CDs with all of Hank's music on it, and I just started knocking them off one by one.
So do you copyright those lyrics?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I copyright them as a work. Because when you send in for that PA form, it's $40 per form.
Yeah, you can do a compilation.
So I did like a work.
Yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm.
Your Majesty's Musical Message.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
I did Your Majesty's Musical Message. So my publishing company is Your Majesty Publishing, Your Majesty's Record Company, and Your Majesty's Publishing, Record Productions. Yeah. So
wow. So. Now you have like you mentioned a couple of your notable, and you probably got more that I don't even know. My Little Suede Shoes, classic. Yeah. Star Eyes. Yeah. Classic. Moments Notice. Classic. And so you know.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I try to take classic songs that everybody loved. And see, when you do this thing, you got to add something to it to make it even greater.
Yeah. Yeah, your rendition of it is just.
Because I just don't you got to make lyrics that make people say, wow.
What I'm saying, them lyrics are classic. Those lyrics that you put to them songs, classic. Now, you got to sing one of my favorite ones.
What's that?
CBS and all the rest.
Oh, let me tell you something. So in 1974, I was living in South Hill High Rise. I was on the elevator. And was this cat got on the elevator. He went, CBS and all the rest. And I said, what's that? He said, I'm writing this song. I went, Warner Brothers and all the others. Then I said, send a telegram. Then we started changing. We started switching, changing. That's how we wrote that song. So about several years, I was singing that song. I kept saying, John, I got this song. John Malick, I got this song. He said, come over, George. And I went over to his basement. He lived on Division Avenue. I went down there and I sung the song. He wrote it out. And that was the opening song when he produced me and called me Your Majesty.
Wow. Can you sing it for the public?
Yeah. See, a doom, ding, doom, ding, doom, ding, 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 dong, ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. CBS
Come on.
And all the rest, and Warner Brothers and all the others. So CBS and all the rest,
Yeah.
and Warner Brothers and all the others. Send a telegram, make them understand just what I want to be. I'm a liar, stress and strife, sure to become a celebrity. A poet and know it all, I've done it all, and had a ball. A poet and know it all, I've done it all, and had a ball. So what must I do to get this interview? I can sing and I can dance if I only had the chance to show CBS.
Come on, y'all.
And all the rest, and Warner Brothers and all the others.
Yeah,
So that's one of them
oh,
songs
man.
that you sing.
That's a
You end up
classic.
singing it for a whole week. And you were
Man.
saying, wow.
Man, somebody got to do.
That was the first song, 1974.
Man, you need to call Sam Prather to do a video and put something. That song right there is catchy.
That's the type of song that anybody could sing because everybody wants.
Yeah.
But that was my state of mind then,
Yeah.
not my state of mind now.
I understand.
Because there's some people saying this, he's saying CBS, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
But the song, whatever it is what it is. But the song is catchy, and I believe if it got out, if you did a production of it and a video, it could pop.
And the gentleman's name, my friend's name is Wayne Prentice.
Okay.
Wayne Prentice. He was, and we talk every now and then. He's given me a couple of songs, but that
Wow.
particular song we worked on together.
Yeah, very nice.
And that's a beautiful song.
Wow. So now you alluded to. Now, how did you get moved to New York? What prompted you to move to New York? Okay.
Well, Eddie Jefferson was
And
just
what was that
murdered.
experience like?
Eddie Jefferson was just murdered. And I came home. I had $350, and I did the tribute to Eddie at the Blues Alley. 1979 was the first time I sung at the Blues Alley. And it was I had a great group. It was John. I think I had Bernard, Sweetney, and Marshall Hawkins, something like that. And so I said, I want to move to New York. So I because everybody kept saying, come New York, come New York. So I had 2 suitcases, a duffel bag, and $350. I bought a one-way ticket. At that time, it was Conrail. It was $12 to New York. And I caught the train to New York.
Did you quit your job?
Yeah, because I was out. Then I eventually left. And so I moved to New York. I got to Penn Station.
What year was this around?
This was 79.
Okay.
October. I found the receipt that I caught a Metro bus to the train station. I found the receipts,
Okay.
the tickets,
Yeah.
to the bus and the train. I had them in my scrapbook. And so I got to New York. I had no place to stay, nothing like that. I went to Penn Station. The lockers were 50 cents a day. I put my stuff in the lockers. And the first day out, I went to see Lou Donaldson. He was at Sweet Basil's.
So you knew you knew
Because I met him
Yeah, okay, I got you. Okay. At the Pigfoot.
3, 4, 5 years earlier. So when he saw me come to the club, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And that was the day that I met Mark and Billy Johnson, bass and drummer player, that was playing with Cassandra Wilson for a long time. And I met them. They said, oh, yeah, man, just come here with us on the street. Because they was playing with George Breit on the street.
Okay.
And next thing you know, so I went that night. Then I went to another club, and George Coleman was playing. George Coleman.
Harold Mayburn.
And your boy's father.
Jamil Nasser.
Jamil Nasser and Philly Joe.
Wow.
And as soon as I walked in the club, Harold saw me and George Coleman saw me. Next thing you know, they called me up, and I turned the club out. I went to Penn Station because I got a Village Voice, and I saw where you can get a room on Atlantic Avenue for $15.
Wow.
So I got my stuff out. I went to Atlantic Avenue. I got to the hotel. Outside was prostitutes, junkies, transvestites. And I got into the office. It was a transvestite, and his arms is just swollen. I said, I can't stay in this bar. So I left the joint, and I'm walking down Atlantic Avenue, and I hear A Night in Tunisia coming out of a club. Wow. And I cross the street and go into the club, and there's Talib, Brother Gates from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Who's it?
Gates from Philadelphia, the piano player. And Suleiman Hakim on bass,
mm-hmm.
and the brother from Rudy on drums.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, one of them saw me, and next thing you know, I was up there singing.
Wow.
And that's the night that I met Talib. We became good friends.
Mm-hmm. So
I left there, I got on the A train, and I rode it back and forth until about 5 or 6 in the morning. With my stuff.
Oh, because you
with
didn't
my bags.
You didn't have a place to stay.
Yeah, so I went back to Penn Station.
So you were staying, you slept?
I ended up doing that 3 months.
Wow.
3 months. I rode the trains for 3 months. That's how I survived in New York, and nobody knew it.
Wow.
I would be dressed up like this. I'd go out to clubs, and I'd go out, and you can't see me. Next thing you know, I hung out with Harold Vick, Clifford Jordan, C Sharp.
C Sharp, I remember C Sharp.
Oh man, C Sharp, that was the baddest cat, but he was a junkie.
I met C Sharp one time.
Yeah.
When I was in high school.
So I would hang up. As soon as I walk in the club, those cats would bring me up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then one day I was hanging. I was up at Harlem, the club up in Harlem. The one that had closed 145th and St. Nick's Pub. And so I saw Leon up there, Leon Thomas. He said, George, Pharoah Sanders is going to be at the Vanguard next weekend. Come on down. Mm-hmm. So I went there. I met up with Leon. Was back in the back kitchen. So I met Pharoah with Dr. Art Davis. John Hicks was on piano, and Greg Bandy was on drums. So Leon said, yeah, George, Pharoah, this is George Johnson. He sang with Lou Donaldson, with James Moody. He said, oh, yeah, you want to sing one? I said, yeah. So I knew he was closely associated to John Coltrane. So he said, what you want to sing? I said, Moment's Notice. He said, go over there and tell John Hicks what you want to sing. I told John, John, play it just like Blue Train. The club was packed. Eddie was just murdered a few months later. Wow. So the people in the club, so when Pharoah played, Vanguard was packed.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the people who were there. Betty Carter was there. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there sitting by the piano.
Wow.
Oh, man, the club was packed. And I sang Moment's Notice. The people went crazy.
Wow.
And so I was almost in tears. So Pharoah said, do another one. I did my Little Suede Shoes. He said, well, do another one. I did Star Eyes. And then after that song, the people went crazy. I walked out the club crying, basically crying.
Wow.
And so that weekend, I had called Miss Watson up, Carolyn's mom, the woman I married. And they said, well, come up here, because I told them I was riding the subway. They said, well, come up here and stay with us for a week or two. And I had given Pharoah their number. And one day I got a call. He said, George Johnson, he said, this is Pharrell. Because, his real name is Pharrell, F-A-R-R-E-L-L. And he said, we're going to be hanging up in New York on the weekend. Would you like to hang out? I said, yeah. So he just gave me the address. So I get to the address. It's Power Station Studio.
Wow.
I go in there, and there's Pharoah, and, John Hicks. Even Amir Baraka was there. Harold Mayburn was there. Billy Higgins, Dr. Art Davis. And And so I sat there and I watched them for about an hour and a half. And all of a sudden, Pharoah walked up to me and said, "Would you like to sing Moment's Notice?"
Wow.
And that's how I did Moment's Notice.
And he recorded it.
One take.
Wow. Man, that's crazy.
And next thing you know, he paid me some cash and some stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I had already had I started my publishing company that same year.
Okay.
So I already had my copyrights, everything.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we did Moment's Notice, took the picture, and Moment's Notice ended up being the most played song on that album.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm hearing it every day.
Yeah.
Because I'm living in Trenton. So they playing it on BGO and they playing it on WRTI
Wow,
in
man,
Philly.
that's good.
And I'm hearing it. I'm sure you probably heard it.
Yeah.
I was hearing Moment's Notice because John Trotrain lived in Philly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Philly was like my second home. You know,
Yeah.
I was hip with all the cats in Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was hanging out at Natalie's and
Oh yeah, and that
all the clubs, man.
Yeah.
I was hanging
You
out
know
all the clubs. Zanzibar Blue. And
yeah, but this vocalist,
TC?
Trudy Pitts, yeah, TC,
but-
yeah.
So when I played with Moody in Philly, guess who he used? Trudy Pitts on piano.
Oh, wow.
So we became very close.
yeah.
And that's when Mr. C was
uh,
no, he wasn't playing drums. You know,
Okay.
that's a little above.
Yeah, yeah.
Above. You know,
Yeah.
Moody got some other type of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think he had at that time. He had the brother from Philly. So TC was there. So that's when I got to meet TC. So me and Trudy became very close. As a matter of fact, Bayard Lancaster, you knew Bayard?
I mean, yeah.
So Bayard was in charge of this festival in Jamaica called the. He's in charge. So he said, do you want to go to Jamaica? And I said, yeah. So Trudy was on the gig.
Oh, wow.
Mr. C was on the gig. And the bagpipes.
Yeah.
What's his name? We were roommates.
Oh, yeah,
Rufus
yeah.
Howley. We
Yeah,
were
Rufus
roommates.
Howley, yeah.
That was when he was dying with the cancer. He was real sick. We were roommates. And it was dynamite. And that's how I met Trudy. And that's ended up meeting TC. And come to find out, he loved Eddie Jefferson, too.
Wow.
You know,
yeah,
and
man,
so he's always looked up to me as like
Yeah,
a big brother.
yeah.
And Trudy. So Philly was like my second home.
So did you ever meet Hank Mobley?
No, I never met Hank.
Wow.
I met him once. He was
I
playing
met
at the
him
Blue Coronet on Fulton Avenue in Brooklyn, and I was living around the corner on
So you got to see him
Hancock
one
Street.
time?
And I was walking down the street, and I went there, but he was very, very sick.
Yeah, I saw him.
He couldn't even play a chorus. He couldn't play a half a chorus.
Yeah.
He was
playing
very
on one
sick.
lung.
One lung, his lips were pink. He was just looked sick. It was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wasn't really into his music then.
Okay.
But I remember meeting him, and so Philadelphia, James Moody, oh man, James Moody put me in so many great situations. I can tell you how I met him too. You know, when you so go ahead, the next question.
That's coming. You ever meet Joe Henderson and people like that?
I met Joe Henderson in New York.
Okay.
I never hit with him.
Okay. So, and we're going to talk about some of your musical associations. I'm glad you went right there. You've already mentioned, man. You've been connected.
Frank Foster.
Yeah.
Those cats that I named, those are the ones that would come through the Pigfoot, and a bunch of other people like Carmen,
Yeah.
Sarah, the blind singer, Al Hibbler, Arthur Prysock, his brother, all those entertainers, the Four Tops, all I could have been a top. You know, all those singers came through.
Wow. That's heavy.
So go ahead. you
Yeah.
know.
What I'm saying, James Moody. That's one. I wanted to give you an opportunity to share with some of these names that you've put out, how you met them, or what is your connection with them. James Moody.
James Moody. I was hanging out with Barry Harris. I was at the Jazz Culture Theater. He had the spot called the Jazz Culture Theater.
Is that where he does his piano thing?
He used to.
Okay.
But it closed several years later.
Okay.
So him and Jim Harrison.
Okay.
You know, Jim Harrison was the promoter. He was one of the biggest black promoters in New York. He was the promoter for the Jazzmobile. He was part of the group that started that.
Okay.
With Jimmy Heath and all them. So they said George, and so they knew I had this tape. Next in line tape.
Yeah. Next in line.
They said, George, they're doing a tribute to Eddie Jefferson up at Carnegie Hall, and John Hendricks is the coordinator. Go up there and say, we sent you, and let him hear that tape. So I went up to Carnegie Hall. I went up there. I went up there about, because he said he's up there rehearsing about 12 o'clock. So I went up there, and I knocked on the door, and I asked for John, and John came down. And I said, my name is George Johnson. I was a very close friend of Eddie Jefferson. And Bill Harrison and Barry said for me to come here and let you hear this tape. He took the tape and went upstairs and came back down, all excited, said, wow, we're gonna let you sing. We're gonna play that tape over the loudspeaker in Carnegie Hall and let everybody hear it. On the bill was the Manhattan Transfers, Hendrix and Friends. What's the great singer? Bob McFerrin was singing with him then, plus Dizzy, and so in that band it was Harold Mayburn, Rufus Reed, and Eddie Gladden on drums with Moody, and Richie Cole, and this comedian called the Professor and the Manhattan Transfers. So the whole concert was really about the Manhattan Transfers because they had this new song out. Do-wah, coo-coo kitty, talking about the boys from New York City. So you know the Contours first did that. As a matter of fact, Dennis Edwards was the lead singer with the Contours before he went to the Temptations. Okay. So John came down, said, man, we love it. We're gonna play it over the PA system, the Carnegie Hall. Be back up here at 6 o'clock. I left there. And I called my mother, long distance, collect. I said, Mom, I'm going to sing in Carnegie Hall. I'm going to sing in Carnegie Hall. Wow. She said, yeah? She said, what do you need? Because I was still riding the subway.
She didn't know that?
No, I didn't tell nobody.
Yeah.
So she sent me $100 Western Union. I went to the Western Union, got the money. I went on St. Mark's Place. There's a place called Andy's Cheapies. It's a thrift store. I went in there and got a white tuck jacket, a pair of black gabardine slacks. I got a white shirt with a red sparkle tie, and some black dancing shoes. Went to Penn Station. I went to the bathroom. I changed clothes. I went back up to the Carnegie Hall, and I knocked on the door, and John came down. He said, George, we can't let you sing.
Wow.
I said, well, why not? He said, because there's nobody to play with you. I said, yes, it is, because Harold Mayburn and those cats played, and Richie Cole played with Eddie Jefferson. And so I sang with Eddie. And, I know all this material. He said, well, no problem, he said, I'll be right back. He came back downstairs, and he said, George, I'm sorry, man, but we can't let you sing. And by this time, man, I was almost in tears. Wow. I was actually in tears, because Eddie was my best friend. Yeah. I felt that I was just as close to him. Other than James Moody, I was probably closer to him, anybody up there. And so he said, well, come on upstairs. So he took me upstairs, and up in the dressing room, it was James Moody, it was Dizzy.
Who?
Dizzy Gillespie. All of them were there. And he introduced me to them. And so I stood there, and I met Moody and Dizzy and all of them, and Harold Mayburn was there. We were real close, and so all of a sudden, John walked over to me with these two big, bodyguards. I don't know who they were. He said, George, you got to leave.
He said, you got to leave?
You got to leave right now. So on my way out the door, James Moody grabbed me by the arms and said, George, be at Sweet Basil's at 10 o'clock. Because he had a double gig. So when I went to Sweet Basil's, he was playing with his quartet. So he said, be at Sweet Basil's at 10 o'clock.
Now, did he know your...
He heard the tape.
Okay.
And he probably heard about my reputation.
Okay.
Because my reputation was preceding me.
Okay.
Because cats were coming down to the Pigfoot and said, this young cat singing this shit.
Yeah.
So he said, be at Sweet Basil's at 10 o'clock. So I get there at 10 o'clock. I had my outfit on. Yeah. I'm clean as a dog, clean as a whistle. And all of them were there. Manhattan Transfers, Bob McFerrin, Dizzy, Richie Cole, all those cats were there. And Moody said, ladies and gentlemen, this next young man I'm going to introduce you, he's the protege of the great Eddie Jefferson.
Wow.
He's a protege, and he's next in line. We're going to bring up George Johnson. And I went up there, man, and wore those motherfuckers out. I sang A Night in Tunisia. Dizzy played. I got the tapes.
Yeah.
Dizzy played. Then I did a whole set. I did Now's the Time. It was like playing with Bird.
Yeah.
I did, I said Night Tunisia. I did Little Suede Shoes. And a couple other songs. Billy's Bounce.
Star Eyes?
Star Eyes, Billy's Bounce, and a couple other bebop songs. And turned the club out. So at the end of the night, James Moody gave me $200.
Wow.
I never slept on the subway again. And he said to me, he said, George, he said, they were not going to play that tape on the PA system. Because if they played that tape on the PA system, you would have stole the show.
Wow.
The show wasn't about, so, and the next day, the newspapers ate it up. They said it wasn't about Eddie Jefferson, it was about the Manhattan Transfer. So that just goes to show you how this business is. So Moody told me this story about this guy that was trying to win the Irish sweepstakes. It was $1 million, and you get a trip around the world. He kept playing, he kept playing, he kept playing. He was trying to win that $1 million, and finally he won it. He got on the boat got in the middle of the ocean, and it sank. So that was the moral of the story. It related to that. Yeah. And from that day, I ended up singing with James Moody for the next 10 years.
Wow.
He called me up. We talked to each other on the phone because Moody lived in Newark.
Yeah.
And so by this time, I had gotten, I was getting a room here and a room there, and I got another room there. Then I was staying with somebody for a month. Yeah, then I ended up getting an apartment on St. Mark's, right across on St. Mark's and 3rd. And I was roommates with Ed Howard and Steve. And
Steve Williams?
Yeah, so we was hanging out all the time.
Wow.
I was with him the day that Shirley called him up to say, come home.
Okay, wow. Yeah,
say come home.
Yeah.
And so, it was a very interesting, New York. And then I was hanging out at all the clubs. And right down the street, Al Haig, who played with Charlie Parker on a couple of those songs, he was playing at this hotel. And I went in there and I said, my name is George Johnson, Washington, D.C. I come up with John Malachi, and I sing with Moody every now and then. He said, you want to sing a song? Next thing you know, I did My Little Suede Shoes. I was singing with everybody.
Wow.
It was nobody. My reputation got around, and cats were looking out for me. I was probably the hottest singer in New York at that time. Only other singer at that time was Andy Bay and Leon Thomas. Kurt, he was probably in elementary school. Giacomo Gates wasn't in New York. Wasn't none of them in New York.
Yeah.
I was singing with James Moody.
You would,
Carnegie Hall, the festivals, every festival, major clubs, everything.
So did you finally get to sing in Carnegie Hall?
Yes, with James Moody.
Oh, wow, so
the Cool Jazz Festival.
Wow.
Moody brought me up there about a year or two later.
Wow, so you got there anyway.
Cool Festival, the South Sea Jazz Festival, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Philly. Moody was like a sweetheart, and it felt so good when you get a call from James Moody.
No doubt.
Then
let's talk about Lou Donaldson.
Oh, Lou, I told you how I met him in '74, and he did.
Y'all also remain friends.
He was the first person I hit with in New York, and so whenever Lou Donaldson would be playing, I'd pop in, no matter where it was, no matter what club I go to. The major musician horn players be playing, and I'd be the one that they picked to come up and sing. It'd be 100 musicians in there. So you had respect from the musicians when cats loved me because I was new on the scene.
Yeah.
Eddie had just died. So it was like being in heaven, man.
You were actually next in line.
And then I got the job on the railroad.
Wow.
For New Jersey Transit.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that too. That's it. Benny Golson.
Benny Golson? I met Benny Golson in Israel.
In Israel
about 15 years ago.
Okay.
So I got some friends, some Jewish friends and some Russian friends that give me more work than the brothers here in the city.
Woo!
Yeah. I have some friends from Russia and from Israel that give me more work than cats do. Nobody calls me up for gigs because I'm always calling people up for gigs.
Yeah.
I'm a band leader, so I'm always calling people.
Yeah.
But nobody calls me up. Only person calls me up for something is Don Vante. Nobody else calls me up for any gigs.
Okay. Yeah.
And so New York was beautiful, man. It was really beautiful, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I did the subway thing.
Start calling you now.
I slept with one eye open. You imagine sleeping on the subway A train. You can't sleep on the A train, the D train.
Yeah.
You had to sleep with one eye open. You seen the crazy motherfuckers on that train.
You better believe it.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's when your hood instincts got to kick in.
Man, a couple times, man, I had to get, rumble. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's I grew up in the hood. I'll fight in a minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your hood instincts got to kick in.
Bam.
Man, that's beautiful, man. And so I'm just going to some of the people you work with. These just, I mean, we be here all day.
Oh, I didn't finish telling you about Benny.
Oh yeah.
So I met Benny in Israel. We was doing we was in Ashdod. It was called the Ashdod International Jazz Festival. The piano player named a great piano player brought me over. Damn, my mind. I'll think of it in a minute. And so I met him there, and on the bill was Benny, and then that young sister, Gun Hill, that plays the trombone, the trumpet, the white chick over in Europe.
Okay.
And she plays, she's been Gun Hill Rawlings, something like that. Yeah. She was on the gig. And then Moody came to 11th Street, Bohemian Caverns.
Oh, wow.
And I walked in. That tape, that thing you see me sing with Benny Golson?
Benny Golson came, okay, yeah.
He was playing there.
Yeah.
And I came in and he said, George John, next thing you know, he called me up. That's when I did the little suede shoes, and now it's time.
And then I was yeah.
But
that was that?
That was that night.
Wow.
And so every time, whenever I walk in on Benny Golson, I moved to Detroit. I was in Detroit.
Yeah, I remember when you
The first day I moved to Detroit, I looked in the paper. I said, who's in town? I looked in the paper. Benny Golson. He's at the Jazz Cafe.
Wow.
I walked in the Jazz Cafe, the big order, the concert hall. I walked in there and sat down, and Benny saw me.
Wow.
Bam. Then I was driving Lyft. So I said, let me drive to Chicago. And so I was, actually, I was driving Lyft. I went to Chicago. I got an Airbnb, and Benny was there. He was playing at the Jazz Showcase. And I walked in the club, and Benny saw me. Next thing you know, I'm up there. So Benny, cats are like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes artists just walk in.
Yeah.
And I don't ask anybody. I've never asked. John Malachi told me that. I met John. John was the first one. One time he was playing something I played, and I touched his arm. He said, don't ever do that again. Don't ever ask anybody to let you sing.
Wow.
If somebody wants you to sing, they will bring you up. Jazz musicians don't work that much. So when they play, they want to play music. Until you get that reputation, when cats are calling you up, never asked, and from that day on, I kept that my motto.
Wow.
I kept that my motto.
So, man, do you ever pinch yourself? Because it's like, those cats are like icons in this music.
Sometimes I sit around and cry.
Really? That's deep.
Because, especially when I got the job with the train, I left Moody because I was almost killing myself because I was working the conductor's list. So I was qualified on all over Jersey. The Corridor, the Coastline, the Raritan, the Hoboken, the Summit, and I was on the conductor's list. So each morning, I had to be in a different place every morning. So if I'm singing in New York with James Moody and we get off at 1 or 2 o'clock, I got to be in Bayhead at 5 o'clock.
Wow. So you paid some dues, brother.
So I was almost killing myself on the highway. And each time Carolyn went into labor with my 3 sons, I was singing on stage with James Moody. And at that time, we had the beepers. Remember the beepers in the 80s?
Yeah.
So that's how I found out. And so I would get in the car, rush down 95. I'd be at the hospital right on time. Each one of my sons, I was on the stage with James Moody, either the Vanguard or Sweet Basil's.
Wow.
Yeah, so me and Moody, we got a history, man, and
yeah, man.
So the railroad is what changed my whole life.
And we're gonna.
And when I left the railroad, that's when I got depressed because I was getting all that spotlight, and all of a sudden I wasn't doing nothing. So what I did, I started teaching at this school called African People's Action School. I started teaching kids lyrics. I did that for about 15 years.
You got depressed after you retired? You got depressed after you retired?
No, I got depressed while I was singing and left James Moody because I was no longer in the spotlight.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
All of a sudden you're singing here and you're singing there and you're singing there, and all of a sudden you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I was just going hang out. So Philadelphia was my next connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, man, you have played with, we probably be sitting here the next year, talking about the people you perform with. But I have a few more questions, right? I want to talk about. Name some of the people you played with. I mean, you've already had, but I mean, like, I'm looking.
It's so many, man. It's hundreds of musicians.
Clifford Jordan, Bernard Harper, yeah, Kenny Barron.
First gig I did with Moody after that was Kenny Barron, Rufus Reed, and what's the brother that played with Monk? Riley, Ben Riley.
Ben Riley, okay.
Yeah, at a place called Lush Life. And then, you know, he started calling me up all the time. He just gave me the address. He just gave me the address. He said, Moody, he said, George, be at this address on this date.
Wow. So how many albums have you recorded on your own?
I've only did, I produced Next in Line, and then I did The Moment's Notice with Pharoah. Other than that, I have no other. I did the Live at the Jazz Inn. Yeah. But I have nothing that I'm nothing I'm really happy of, because that's not me now. I'm totally different now.
What do you mean?
From those albums 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So I got so many lyrics. I got so many lyrics. I could probably record 10 albums.
So it's time to yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah,
it's that time, man, because it's like, wow.
But the thing about it, I get a chance to practice those things when I'm singing with Don Vante at the 18th Street Lounge.
Yeah.
So they about to open up.
Yeah.
So the thing I like about Don Vante and Sam, they know how to flip them songs, because they don't play straight ahead up there.
Oh yeah, they put a little stank on.
Yeah, they put that stank on.
Yeah.
They put that funk on it.
Yeah,
so when I'm playing it, man, those people they go crazy up the 18th Street Lounge.
Yeah.
And I'll be the oldest one in there, but I'll be like dancing. People don't even know, man.
Yeah.
They put a funk to Jive Samba.
Yeah.
The Cantaloupe Island,
Yeah.
all those songs, man. Those people be dancing, going crazy.
You know what's crazy? I've never been in or at what's the 18th Lounge?
Oh man,
I've never been in there.
That was the longest. Don Vante been playing it 16 years.
And you know why?
And guess who piano they still got up there?
Who?
Ellsworth's.
Ellsworth Gibson?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that piano? What's
Yeah.
that move? Not a move. What's that thing?
I don't know, man.
That piano player,
Yeah.
that electric piano.
The reason why I never probably been there, because I was doing it on the Fridays. I was at HR 57.
Yeah, right.
And the 18th Street Lounge, it happened. That's like after that happens like, what time they start? 12?
They start 10, 11.
10, but they go to
2, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so my gig
You
be
be
ending at
tired.
12. I be tired, and then I ain't trying to find no parking in that joint.
Oh, yeah, that's the only only
Yeah.
thing about that. But that place, man,
I
love
never
it.
got-
They got they got 3 floors, 5 rooms, every room a different DJ, packed in every room, and the people, they just moving room to room. When the music start, upstairs it's packed, and the people, they just dancing.
Somebody told me they're gonna reopen somewhere else.
The guy bought he bought a new spot. He bought at night the old 9:30 club, 12:30 club.
Oh, wow.
He bought that.
Oh,
he got
that's
a
gonna-
rooftop, 2
that's gonna be-
floors.
that's gonna be
and it opens back up in October. I talked to Don
That's gonna be
Vante.
happening,
Yeah.
man. Let's talk a little bit about your acting. You're an accomplished actor.
Mm-hmm.
You appeared in The Soldier's Play,
The Soldiers Play.
Mighty.
Matter of fact, go ahead.
Mighty Gents, Hollywood Hustle, My Mark, My Name, Garvey, Trials and Tribulation of Stagger,
Wow, I
Lee-
can't remember all those names.
Booker T. Brown with Ricky Payton. Wow. And you penned the lyrics for Santa, Starship. Wow, and more.
Yeah, Sister Reed.
So you used some of that acting stuff you got going to Howard, or how'd you get?
No, that was afterwards. Howard, that was the first time when I did Raisin. I never acted for in my life. Yeah, I'm in the Broadway musical.
So how'd you get into?
It's like singing, man. If you can sing, you're acting. I'm acting on stage when I'm singing. You know what I mean? So
So how did those opportunities come to you?
I told you, Henrietta Edmondson. She got me into school, and next thing you know, we left D.C. on New Year's Day.
Wow.
We got to Switzerland. Next thing, then the Swiss government sponsored it. So we went to St. Gallen, Geneva, Zurich, Bern,
Wow.
Appenzell, Luzerne, Milano, Lugano, and Paris, France for 3 months.
Wow. Let's talk about jazz is cooking. Jazz is cooking. Remember, I did one of those.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah.
I did one of your jazz. Now is that still ongoing? Man, that was a great concept.
Well,
you need to hook up with Vince Evans, because Vince Evans, you know Vince Evans, right?
Yeah, I've been on Vince a long time.
He's the chef, man. So he's been on Facebook kind of cooking.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, man. So it made me think of you with jazz.
Yeah, well, I'm always thinking of so many.
But
You got to be innovative in this art.
that right there, I'm telling you, man, you gotta make sure you.
So let me give you a good idea. Okay. Remember the white cat named Emerald? He used to say bam, bam. He'd say eggs and bacon, bam.
Okay.
Sausage and grits, bam. He got that from a brother up in Penn Station. It was a restaurant in Penn Station. It was his brother behind. He was a cook, and every time you ordered something, he'd say eggs and bacon, bam. Grits, bam. Sausage sandwich, bam. Fish sandwich, bam. That's where that cat got that bam thing from. He stole that from that brother up in Penn Station.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you better not let nobody steal jazz cooking, because
yeah.
Jazz is cooking. You were like, jazz is cooking.
Well, just the fact.
What was the concept behind jazz cooking?
Well,
I know you it was a cooking show.
Yeah, actually that day he didn't really have the stuff to do it, but we originally did it at Kelly's Ellis Island, and they put out all the food. I bought the shrimp. So, and the first time I think we did it, I had Lenny. Lenny did his recipe on his cakes, on his crab cakes. So we would cook on the stage and then cook in the kitchen. Yeah. So the audience, they'd have the chairs set up back in another room, and people would come in there, and I say, "What's cooking?" Everybody say, "Jazz is cooking."
Yeah.
And so we go through the recipe, jazz is cooking, and then we get up there and play, and then we record. It was video.
Yeah, man. You got. let me say this, man. I look at life like this. It's all about legacy. Whether you on, because everybody gonna get. You're gonna be on. We all been on the stage. You're gonna be time where it's gonna be somebody else on the stage, but that's part of your legacy.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we value our legacy, and we document it, because if not, man, it goes to smithereens. And nobody knows.
I appreciate this interview because I'm getting a chance to tell you some things that I've never told people in public.
Yeah.
You know, like the
the
Moody thing, the Carnegie Hall thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. This business, you have to always have your guard up. Mm-hmm. This business is really rough.
Yes, sir.
Especially if you're not doing no drugs and you're not a gopher. There's some people out here that got good skills, they're great musicians, but everybody got their little faults. You know what I mean? And everybody's angling to steal your shit or to use you.
Yeah.
Any way they can.
Yeah.
And I'm not about that. And the thing that kept me from being used was working on the railroad and having a job. So I didn't need any money.
Yeah.
I didn't need any drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because I always grew up as an athlete.
Well, one thing me and Munir talk about this. I learned that people are selected.
Oh, yeah.
And they might be selected for certain reasons. It could be whatever. And you know, we come up thinking our talent is going to take us and do this and open these doors. Yeah. And one thing for me, and that's why I don't get emotionally into that, like, because nobody calls me for this.
There's nothing wrong with talking about it.
Yeah, no, you talk about it. Yeah,
because I always wondered why.
Well, one thing I learned, and I had a professor, Fred Irby, he told me one day I was on Howard's campus.
I remember the day he came to Howard.
Yeah. Really? Wow. He told me, he said, man, all men are not created equal. And so when he told me that freed me from being competitive. I don't compete with people because it's never going to be fair. And so you're going to people frustrated because, you know, life ain't fair. So, but guess what? What I also the corollary to that is that everyone has a competitive advantage. That's why if people find their uniqueness, if people find that thing that makes them unique, that nobody can do it like I do it, then nobody can replace.
Well, see, that's why I don't worry, because I got a paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
I don't worry about things like that because it's gotten to a point now that they can't get around me.
Yeah.
They can't get around me.
Yeah.
If they really want the real stuff, or to get, just read the history.
Yeah.
You can't get around me. What other master vocalists out there? Bart McFerrin? Who else?
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know who else doing what you do, but
especially swinging like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what, some of these singers who's getting all this publicity, that's doing all these festivals, and on all these cruises and stuff like that, put them on the stage with me. And we'll find out who's swinging Who's not swinging? You understand?
Yeah.
Let the truth be told.
Yeah.
That's what they used to do, the jam session, different sex.
Yeah.
You know, nobody calls me
The
up.
music speaks for itself.
Yeah. I would love to do the Blue Note Cruise.
Yeah.
Who else is singing those things, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, again, I think that by telling your story, like, that's why it's bigger than just music. People buy you before they buy your product. And once they get to know you, then they say, oh, because sometimes people can misconstrue you because you know, for whatever reason, and they may, but you got to, once they say, oh, this just, you know, oh, this, and then they can embrace the music because now they know, oh, it's connected to something.
I love Johnny Hartman. I love Frank Sinatra. I love ballads. A lot of people think I can't sing ballads. I love ballads. I love singing soft. Shirley was the one that taught me how to sing soft. You see how sometimes my diction?
Yeah.
I learned that from Shirley.
Okay.
Shirley is, you know, I learned from Shirley because she took over the workshop after John left.
Okay. Well, yeah, you got all the elements, you know.
Shirley
now,
Horn. I should say Shirley
I have
Horn.
some final questions
Okay.
before we close it out. Okay. You mentioned that you retired from the New Jersey Transit Rail.
Yes.
As a train conductor.
Yes.
Now, I was wondering, how were you able to do all this stuff?
Love.
And then have a steady gig like that?
Well, I had 3 sons, and I had a big 5,000 square foot house with a swimming pool, so I had to work. My taxes were $13,500.
So would you do the gig and then get up in the morning and go do the train? Like I'm in
Every
New York?
morning? Yeah, I was working on the railroad. I was on the conductor's list. So one morning I had to be in Bay Head at 5. It might be an overnighter. I might have to be in Long Branch. I might have to be in Hoboken. I might have to be
and you worked all
Atlantic
this
City.
And you work your gigs around all that?
Yes. I was singing with James Moody. And then plus I was hanging out. I would go to Philly. Man, I had so much energy, man.
Wow.
Singing was my thing, you know.
So
and then once I wasn't singing with Moody, I'd just hang out at different clubs.
Yeah. So you loved it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never stopped. I just kept writing and singing and practicing. Because you never know when, you got to be ready in case somebody knocks on that door. What
does retirement feel like?
It feels good.
You look good, man.
Because of my athleticism.
Yeah. Yeah, I see you out there playing basketball.
Playing tennis,
swimming. And you do these things. You do these things where you singing and you're out in the morning, you're singing. What's all that about?
Well, that's the time. That's like a 2-hour, 3-hour walk. Mm-hmm. So I have my earbuds in my ear.
So you into fifth?
I'm practicing. I'm practicing the whole time.
Okay.
I'm practicing. Then and to this pond that I go through called the Schoolhouse Pond, I walk. It's about a 5-mile walk. We walk there, then we go around the pond, and around the pond they got these different wooden, piers.
Okay.
So me and my son, we'll walk around, we'll stop at each pier, and we'd exercise.
Wow.
We'd do sit-ups, push-ups, jumping jacks. So when I first started, I couldn't even do 1 pull-up over 10 push-ups. I was weighing 230.
Wow.
And then during the pandemic, we started walking every day.
Yeah,
I was doing 4 sets of 80 push-ups.
Wow.
4 of everything.
Wow.
I got real strong. Then all of a sudden in November, I got real sick. I didn't tell nobody, but I
Yeah.
don't put my stuff on Facebook.
Yeah,
I got very sick. I mean,
Yeah.
sick.
But you back.
Yeah, I'm back now. You see me running, playing tennis.
Yeah, you looking good,
Just
man.
find the right medicine combination,
and
I'm okay.
I'm glad I thought of something I'm glad I didn't. You started the Washington, D.C. Jazz Network. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Now, what's the impetus for that? I mean, what is that?
So when I moved to New York, I was writing for the Jazz Spotlight News. Jim Harrison had a paper called the Jazz Spotlight News before the Jazz Times and all those other things. Mm-hmm. That was the hippest. And the thing about it, the musicians were the editors.
Oh, wow.
And so I had a corner. So Jim let me write. That was the first time I wrote. So my corner was called Your Majesty's Musical Message. Mm. And the first article I did was Jazz in Washington, D.C., featuring John Malachi.
Wow, beautiful.
Now, that was 40 years ago. So come forward, so all of a sudden Facebook comes out. My son's on this Facebook. Because, you know, Facebook used to be for kids.
Yeah.
It used to be for high school and college kids. And once I got on Facebook, what happened was, for the last, I kept getting these emails from these different white organizations. I'm saying, wow, this is our music. And then you had to pay somebody $350 for for email blast.
No, this is real.
Email blast.
Yeah.
So I said, well, shit. then I heard about these Ning sites, and these Ning sites were popping up. It's only 2 of us left. That's in Philadelphia. We're the only 2 black networks. So once I started that network, I said, whoa, this is like Facebook. But you know what? When I first started, people were really pissed and mad. Why are you sending me these emails? What is this all about? I'm not putting my name on that. And now they're all on Facebook. Every time they pee or go to the bathroom, it's on Facebook. Every time they shit, they put it on Facebook. But here's a brother that this is like a miniature Facebook. It's thousands of members.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
I have 50,000 emails on my phone.
Wow.
Every time you get an email from me, you want 5,000. So I saw the power in it. And then for the last, I guess, 10 years, I've been helping other people with their careers.
Yeah.
I hadn't been doing my own thing. And so the network it's just like Facebook. There's no politics. Okay. And I wish everybody would join the Washington, D.C. Jazz Network. And
talk to them.
I wish everybody go to look up the Washington, D.C. Jazz Network.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't forget.
And go there and join the network. If you can join Facebook and say, we don't do Trump, we don't do no politics. I need bloggers. I need another administrator to help me run it. I mean, it's all the groups, just like Facebook. All those groups, I created groups. You got, oh man, I just feature people.
Yeah.
And so when I feature somebody and I blast it up, it helps.
Okay.
It helps their concerts.
Yeah.
I know this.
Yeah.
People tell me that's why some people love it.
Yeah.
But the Washington D.C. Jazz, but now Facebook and Twitter, but it's only 2 black networks left. It was like thousands of them at first. Wow. And I have to pay every month for that.
All right, man.
Yeah.
So
thank you, brother.
Man, so are you enjoying life, man, at this stage of your life?
I'm really enjoying life. I'm with my son. I'm single. And he has
it's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day, by the way.
Happy Father's Day to you, too.
Yeah,
he has 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I have 2 grandkids.
And
so we together all the time. Okay. I'm with my son, and he has a nice townhouse, and he's got a new job.
Yeah, cool.
He's working for the U.S. Cannabis Council. He's one of the most in-demand young black entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry.
Okay.
He's a lobbyist, and so I'm just enjoying life. I go out to exercise. Yeah. Now I just practice every day, hoping somebody maybe call me up for a gig. Maybe I had to produce my own gigs.
But it's time.
So I have a jazz.
Johnson, y'all.
I have a jazz opera. So the letters I sent you from John Malachi.
Yeah, I saw them. That's what I'm saying. Man, you have so much stuff in the can. You gotta organize it and present it in a way, man, where it can be. You can guard It's all about the legacy, and
I sent you this. I sent you this letter. Let me just read this letter.
Okay. From
John Malachi. This is 1978, June the 12th. I had, I was trying to get a grant from the NEA. So John wrote this letter of recommendations. To who it may concern, as an active musician for over 40 years, artistically and professionally, I am convinced that George V. Johnson, Jr. has both the talent and the ambition as a performing artist and composer to make a valuable contribution to the art form jazz that is still in a state of infancy compared to other global art forms and the one of America's own. Mr. Johnson has studied the artistic efforts of the recording artist Eddie Jefferson with amazing results. His youthful approach and to this veteran's creation should pioneer new horizons, if I may be allowed to prophesy. With formal academic training, yours truly, John Malachi, envisions this unique art as a basis for the first jazz opera.
Wow.
I got turned down, but I wrote the opera anyway.
Okay. You wrote an opera?
Yeah, John, 33 that was Charlie Parker then.
Wow.
So now I call it a jazzical. See, I got that from Eddie. He called it a jazzical. So I call it a jazzical.
Okay.
And then I did 45 of Hank Moody's compositions, and they got scripts and everything.
Man.
And it's, it could be on Netflix. It could be on HBO. All I need is somebody to produce me and started putting this stuff out. I've already been singing the material.
Yeah.
And it's ready. I'm practicing. It's ready.
Okay.
Now, don't wait till I'm dead.
Yeah, no doubt.
And all of a sudden do a fundraiser for me and say how great I am.
am.
Give me a gig now and put me on the stage,
Yeah.
and I'll show you something that the world needs to see that nobody's ever doing.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's doing. None of them jazz singers. Who has written lyrics to 45 of Hank Moody's compositions?
Yeah.
Charlie Parker, John Coltrane,
Mm-hmm.
Miles Davis. This is something I love. I've been doing all my life, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Yeah. And
To the day I die.
Yes, sir.
Thank
And
you.
I believe that if there's a way to get it done, you got to be committed to it. I think that you can make that happen.
Yeah, I plan to.
Yeah.
Real
no
soon.
doubt. Yes, sir.
Thank
No
you
doubt.
very much, brother.
All right. We're almost done.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
You mentioned this. So what's next on the horizon? You just kind of spoke for George V. Johnson.
Well, I'm with this talent agency,
Uh-huh.
and I just got a call for audition.
Okay.
So I have to. So next week I have to the audition. I have to learn a couple commercials and a monologue.
Okay. Great.
So that's what I'm doing. I don't depend on the
Yes.
music, so I'm doing the acting. So I hope to be on the big screen.
Yes. Yeah, you need to be. Last question. How can people contact you and learn more about you and what you do? What you're doing?
Well, you can go to www.georgevjohnsonjr.com.
Uh-huh.
And my email is georgevjohnsonjr@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter. I have a fan page on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on all the networks. I'm not that active,
Yeah.
because I'm busy working and singing, so I'm not. Matter of fact, I just got back on Facebook. I shut down my Facebook for about 6 months because, this whole political thing, man, is just.
Well, my brother, it's been an honor and a pleasure, not only just to have you on the show, man, but to learn more about you, because I didn't know some of these things. And so that, I think, if I didn't know, many people I didn't know. And this is why we do this, because I think it's important that we could tell our own narrative, our own stories from our own experience, from the horse's mouth, and that we every day we're making history. So this is part of history.
This is one of the best interviews that I've done, man.
Oh, man, thank you.
And I've done hundreds of interviews.
Wow.
But this was thorough. I don't like doing those 15, 20-minute, 30-minute interviews, and they trying to get me to tell my own story.
Yeah. This is what we get to. We want to.
And this could be transcribed into a book.
Yeah.
I hope you.
Well, this is just for. Sometimes I believe, like you said something earlier. You said you got to give. This ain't about. This is me just trying to contribute to the legacy, and it's good to talk about all the bad cats that you talked about, James Moody. But you got a story too.
Oh yes.
And so I believe that we all have a story, and a lot of those guys, they got enough validation and attention, and as they should. But then people like yourself deserve attention and the people to see all that you've done and what you've been to this music. Yeah. I don't believe that they're gonna choose a few people to represent jazz, and then the people that have been in the trenches don't get no love, or they don't get their story heard. I don't believe that.
So another thing I'm working on. I've been working on Scott Joplin's The Entertainer. Before Oscar Brown died, he sent me his lyrics to The Entertainer.
Oh, wow.
So that's my next masterpiece. I'd
Beautiful.
like to do a series of operas, maybe
Okay.
3 operas. So
Yeah.
I do Scott Joplin, Charlie Parker, and Hank Mobley. You know what I mean? And,
Yes, sir.
But that entertainer, the entertainer,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh man, his
Yeah.
lyrics, they just
Oh, wow.
they
Yeah.
blow your mind.
Yeah.
So I'm working on the entertainer and the Mobley. The Hank Mobley, I work on that every day, no
Okay.
matter what. But my newest thing I'm working on is the entertainer. I just learned that whole solo, and I'm singing it now. So
All right. Well, man, thank you, man. Thank you again. And yeah, man, we're gonna do something together. So we're gonna make that happen.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother.
man.
All right. Thank you, man. Love you too,
so
man.
much, yeah.
All right. All right. All right. So you've been listening to the great Mr. George V. Johnson. Let me get your name. Your Majesty. Let me get it right. We've been listening to the great Your Majesty, George V. Johnson. This is a conversation in jazz, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you very much.